I'm Anne.
And I'm Monica, and this is the episode where we don't talk about Bruno. No.
That's good. I feel like that was clever.
But we will be talking about Bruno, actually, so it's not even true.
Actually.
This is the episode where we do talk about Bruno. No.
We talk about him.
Welcome back. It's been a while.
Yeah.
How
was New Year's, guys?
Happy New Year. Oh my God, it's 2022.
Yeah.
We're entering our third year of the Flick Chicks, technically speaking.
Yeah, probably. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I think in February it'll be like...
In February it'll be like our 2-year anniversary, which means like we're entering our third year of doing it, which is kind of wild.
I know. Oh my gosh, we should do something now.
Oh, we didn't plan anything.
Right? Like people do like compilations of like the dumbest moments or something. Maybe we'll see.
Who has the time?
I don't have
time. Who has the time or energy? Maybe on our 3-year anniversary we can actually have time to be doing stuff like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's been a minute. Welcome back to the Flick Chicks in 2022. We got lots of fun stuff planned.
Yes.
For this
22
next couple of months, because we can't plan that far ahead. So
yeah,
we'll just say the next couple of months we have some fun episodes planned for you guys, and maybe some other stuff that are not episodes. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You'll have to wait and find out.
I know. All we know is you're gonna love it.
Yeah,
don't worry about
just fun stuff planned for 2022. Get excited, get amped,
get pumped,
get ready. Make sure you're subscribed on all of our channels and platforms. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yes,
exactly. If you're not, you're wasting your own time, man.
You're missing out. Man. You might be missing out on some fun stuff. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, we're back from our holiday hiatus as per usual, and we're back with a new episode of Roasting Movies by the Fire.
Yes.
Whoop, whoop.
And if you couldn't tell by
my amazing
intro, singing, beautiful intro,
yeah,
we're gonna be talking about Encanto,
which is
you go,
which is Disney's newest movie. I don't know why, for some reason in my head I keep thinking that it's a Pixar movie, even though I know it's not a Pixar movie. I'm like, in my head I'm just like, Pixar, but no, it's not Pixar. It's Disney. It's like full out Disney movie that came out.
I think it's because Coco is Pixar.
Oh, that's why.
She's also not the traditional princess, so you just kind of go like,
yeah,
oh, it must
exactly.
be Pixar. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So, it's just a Disney movie that came out kind of recently. I don't remember when it came on theaters, but it was released on Disney Plus on Christmas Eve. So,
it came out, I know,
recent.
Definitely before Spider-Man, because I watched it like a week.
I
watched it a week before I was buying tickets for Spider-Man No Way
Home.
So that must have been
like November. Yeah, that makes sense actually. And yeah, if you haven't heard about it, I don't know, maybe I'm just on a weird part of TikTok, but I get videos about Encanto on my TikTok For You page every freaking day. Even though,
crazy.
As we will discuss later, like, it's just not for any particular reason. It's just I feel like a lot of people are talking about it. So
yeah,
especially maybe around the time I watched it like the day after it got put on Disney Plus. So that's when like it kind of boomed, when everyone
I think most people
most people watched it when it came on Disney Plus. So it's been the talk of the town a little bit. Maybe not for you, but definitely in my corner of the internet, it's been the talk of the town.
Spoiler, my little sister is the one who convinced me to go in theaters to go see it. So I've been hearing about it from her. So
yeah, I was actually convinced to go to watch it because I heard, what did I hear? It was like I think I just saw, like, I heard a bit of a song from it on my TikTok For You page, and I actually kept mixing this movie up with another movie that Lin-Manuel Miranda is involved in, called Vivo. I for some reason I thought it was the same thing, but it turns out it wasn't.
Interesting.
So I was like, it was Christmas and I was bored and I was like, let me put on Encanto. Let me see what this is all about. I literally knew nothing about it. I didn't even know what the premise was or anything.
No, me neither. When I went into the theater,
and then I realized it in fact was not Vivo.
No, it was not Vivo. But I'm like, I know some people always talk about like, oh, I don't watch the trailers before I go see movies, and I'm not one of those. I'd be researching everything.
Yeah,
I'm really excited
I'll at least
about
look
something.
up, like, I'm not a trailer person, but I will at least look up like the premise, like the little blurb about it.
Yeah, for sure. But this time I didn't see anything. I don't even know what it was about. I just knew there was like magic.
It was Colombian. Like, I think I just saw a TikTok that was like, oh, this is good, like, representation, Colombia,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I don't know why, for some reason, I mixed it up with Vivo.
Yeah.
Because they're both Lin-Manuel Miranda, so.
Yes. This man is booked and busy. Oh, my goodness.
Booked and busy, and we'll talk more about him later. But yeah, this movie is, all the songs are written by, or not written, I think. Is it?
Well, him and he wrote them, and like, what is it? What do you call it?
Collaboration.
In collaboration with someone else. I'm so sorry. I don't
I don't remember, but
yeah,
he's involved, and it's very obvious that he's involved. Yes, I will say that.
I honestly, this one was clear to me that he was involved on the writing. The writing,
it's like very obvious.
Yes, because Moana, I would say he had full hands on for the songs, but not so much the plot and everything. But anyways, we're going to get into the recap so we can talk about the good tea. So let's go. It'll be really quick recap. I'm not even going to spoil the movie. I'm just going to talk about what it's about.
I feel like just at least the premise, what's going on there.
For sure. Because I'm sure if you're watching this, you've already watched it probably. I don't know. Or
not. Maybe you're not a Disney movie person, but you're still curious as to what this new Disney movie is about. Exactly. Why everyone's talking about it.
But we don't need to dissect every point like we do on other movies. So let's go.
Go ahead.
So, Mirabel Madrigal, I completely apologize for any pronunciation.
We'll do our best.
Yeah, is our main character, who comes from a very special family. So, a magic candle that they call a miracle, the whole family does, was bestowed to Mirabel's grandmother, Alma, following colonial invasions of Colombia and the death of her husband. So, the candle, the magical candle, ended up building an oasis for Amal and her people. Or for Alma and her people, and blessed several generations of the Madrigals with special powers. Mm-hmm. So specifically, Alma, who's the big matriarch of the Madrigals, has triplets. Pepa, who has the power to control the weather. Julieta, who can cure anyone with her cooking. And a son, Bruno, who can see into the future, right? Mm-hmm. And both Pepa and Julieta married and had their own children who also have powers.
Yes.
So Julieta is Mirabel's mom, but unfortunately, Mirabel is the only one in her entire family to not have powers.
They call it gifts, I'm pretty sure, too.
Gifts, yeah, they call it gifts in the thing. Mm-hmm. So just to quickly go over everybody's powers.
Grandkid roundup.
Yeah, literally. So Mirabel is the youngest of Julieta's 3 daughters. She has an eldest sister named Luisa who has super strength. Mirabel's second oldest sister is named Isabella, and she can just make flowers, essentially. Like, she can just, mostly plants, let's just say. She can, like, manipulate flowers and do all types of things.
She can grow flowers whenever she wants, that kind of thing.
If she was, like, a bender, she bends flowers, all right?
Okay.
Yeah, does that make sense? And then Pepa, who has 3 kids, who are Mirabel's cousins. There's, oh my goodness, this is where Antonio, which he gets the power to talk to animals basically, or he understands them. Mm-hmm. And then she has her cousin not Luisa, she has her cousin Dolores, who can hear anything from like miles away. Superhuman hearing. And then she has her cousin Camilo, who can just shapeshift. Like, he's a shapeshifter in terms of like people mostly.
Yeah.
I don't think he shapeshifts into anything else. So everybody has powers except for Mirabel. And that causes strife between her and her abuela, Alma, because abuela is all about the gifts. She's all about the magic. And since Mirabel, usually they have like a huge ceremony in front of the entire village. And when stuff went wrong for Mirabel, it was kind of embarrassing to abuela, and she got scared by that whole ordeal. Mm-hmm. Okay. But on the day where Antonio is gifted his gift and his ceremony, and it goes well, Mirabel starts to believe that the magic in the candle is fading, because she starts seeing like cracks in the house. By the way, I forgot to mention the house is enchanted.
I was gonna say, I forgot about that too. The house is enchanted. The house is alive.
Yeah, it's alive. So it's like, it's very much a outward appearance of everybody's powers and just the magic in general. So it's like a its own living, breathing thing. Yeah. So the house starts to go haywire, and Alma tries to cover it up, but Mirabel is, determined to do whatever she can to save the family and their like incredible legacy, basically, with all the magic, which includes uncovering family trauma and secrets, and maybe even finding out what happened to her estranged uncle Bruno.
Right,
So,
because like we didn't say, but Bruno didn't have any kids. He's the only one of the triplets that didn't have kids because he was outcasted from the family for his prophecies, because apparently they thought that he was the one causing all the bad things to happen to them when he was just prophesizing them. He was just saying like, oh, this thing is going to happen to you. And then it did happen, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's your fault." Yes. And like, he's like, "I'm
literally." So that's like the twist. I would say like that is the midpoint twist in that movie, allegedly, but it's
they kind of like hinted at from the beginning, like at the very beginning when she's talking about the family tree. They're like, "Oh, Bruno left. Like we're not supposed to talk about him or whatever."
Oh no, the twist is that he still lives in the house. Sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I was say that the twist is that he didn't actually leave and he's just living in the walls of the house.
Yeah, which we will address later. Okay, it's a big part of my stuff. Anyways, so we're gonna go on with what we liked about the movie. Pretty all the stuff I liked is very like umbrella stuff. So I think we'll probably like the same stuff too. Very general. I said, obviously, the representation of different types of Latinos, including Afro-Latinos, was really good. I mean, they honestly, if they didn't do it, it would be dumb because Colombia is, like, aside from maybe Brazil, like, it's one of the most, like, populated, like, Latinx, Afro people countries. That was a terrible way to say that. But basically, they have, like, the biggest population of Afro-Latinos outside from, I think, Brazil, maybe, if that I could be wrong, but they have a big population. That's all I'm saying. So, and like, you know, in media
lately, there has been a, like, in general in the media, usually Latino representation tends to skew towards like white Latinos,
white Latinos,
or just like mixed. Like, you rarely ever see Afro Latinos. That's basically what you're getting at.
Exactly. So that was,
and like within the same family too.
For sure. Yeah. It was good. And I feel like that's accurate. That's what families look like. So I was like, I don't even want to praise it, but I have to. But at the same time, it's like, this is what it looks like. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it feels silly to have to mention like, oh, good job for making the people look like how it actually
they're supposed to look like.
So
it sucks that we would have to be doing that,
but I can't help
in this economy.
Obviously, in this, like, we have to acknowledge that, and I'm sure you've seen it. There's this like viral picture of this little boy who looked exactly like Antonio. Have you seen it?
It was so
standing
cute.
in front. Oh my gosh,
God, it's so
that is, like, oh my gosh. I saw the interview, like his parents talked about it, and they were talking about how like he's only he's like only 2.
Oh my God.
And he was watching it, and he kept looking back at his parents, and they were like, what? Like, they were confused because they were like, why is he looking back? And he was just like so shook. Like, he was like, yo, this guy looks like me. Like, they were like, oh, he understands that this kid looks like,
see, like, then people don't get it. Like, that's why it's important.
Oh my gosh. And I'm like, this kid, the people who are like, oh, it's like inbred, like, some people like to say like, oh, these kids like grow up thinking they need to see themselves. No, this kid is 2 years old and can clearly see that this is different. That means that he's been seeing crazy stuff before where he's not represented at all.
Exactly.
And then now he's shook. Like, why else would he be shook by that, you know?
Yeah.
So, obviously beautiful. The animation was stunning, breathtaking, bro. Like, they always go one up every time. Like, I didn't think they could, like, with animation for Disney or Pixar specifically, any of them. They both use the same.
Can you give some examples? Because I'm trying to think right now, and I feel like I don't remember seeing anything that was particularly
good.
Not good, but like different.
Oh.
Like, I don't know, like,
for me, like, I felt like the details in the casita was very like, that's more like me as a animation fiend, obviously noticing things. So I thought that was really good. Any type of lighting, especially with the candle, that's really hard to animate. So I felt like they made that really well. But for me, the biggest like shock moment was one, the water animation. I thought that was wild. And 2, the song with, what's her name? Isabella.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff with the flowers, and the flowers are, like, behind her are, like, changing colors to, like, pretend to be. Oh, my gosh. That was visually stunning. So I think it's just, like, a very bright, beautiful, and, like,
the colors
pretty movie.
is definitely, it's a really colorful movie.
Exactly.
I would say more toward, like, for me, kind of on the same vein, instead of like saying, oh, the animation's really good, I would say like the attention to detail was really good. Like there's a lot of things happening in the background that you don't really notice the first time you watch it until like someone points it out, and you're like, wow, like they really just like put so much detail into that. Like even I saw a picture, or like pictures of like their outfits, like everyone's outfit that they wear is related to their powers, which is so interesting. And it's like in the pattern of their skirt or whatever that you don't even like really would notice, but it's there. Like the attention to detail is just really
a lot of attention to detail, a lot of care. Even like Easter eggs. Like I watched it a second time when it came out on thing for my parents to see, and I started noticing that like Bruno was in a lot of the backgrounds, like way more, like before
he was revealed to be in the house.
Yes,
they
like
could see him in the background.
Literally. So I was like, oh my god.
Or even just crazy. A lot of like they did a good job too with like foreshadowing too. Like I know in the quintessential number, we don't talk about Bruno. Like Dolores says, like she can like. In like they don't know yet that he's still in the house, but she says like I can always hear him like muddling and mumbling or whatever. And like you're at first like whatever listen, you're probably like, oh yeah, it's because like he's basically haunting everyone and they're all scared of him. But it turns out that she actually could hear him muttering and mumbling because he's in the house. And like you know that kind of thing. Like that's what I'm saying. Like just attention to detail is very
to detail,
very good,
very well made. I thought I don't know. Yeah, I think it was like very like. Everything matches and everything's good. Like it felt like calming in a way. I don't know how else to explain
I know
it,
what you mean. Like all like loose ends are tied.
Yes.
No
the
detail
house
missed. Like no
detail missed.
No plot holes that I could think of. Like
that's where I'll get. I don't know about like necessary plot holes, but like there are no plot holes, but there are like falls in logic if you ask me, but we'll talk about that later.
But I see what you mean. I know what you mean though, where it's like it's like there's no like mistakes. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
exactly.
Like, yeah,
very like well done. I also love. We don't talk about Bruno. I think this is just a catchy song, bro. Like
that's what I would have said when I was saying like. It's kind of hard to separate my thoughts into like specifically what I liked and what I didn't like, because there's some things that I'm like, oh, I like this, however, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? But the thing is like in terms of like the music in the song, I thought there were some good ones and then some not some good ones. And like the thing is that the ones that are good are really, really good. To the point where like it almost like even overshadows the other ones. Where it makes the other ones be like, I don't even like if you ask me to sing a song right now from Encanto, I could probably only do 2 of them. Like
for sure.
I could probably do We Don't Talk About Bruno, and I could probably do Surface Pressure. The other ones
really not. That Surface Pressure is good. But I think like in terms of catchiness, I remembered like coming out of the theater, I only remembered the Madrigal song. Madrigal. Like
I could probably do a little bit of that one too, just because that one mostly just because of TikTok though, because I've heard that one.
Oh, interesting. That one, and then obviously We Don't Talk About Bruno. You could hate the song and still come out singing it. Like come on. I think
We Don't Talk About Bruno as the song. Like I think to me this might be controversial because we haven't gotten deep into if we really like the movie or not, but I feel like I kind of like that song more than I like the movie as a whole.
No, I 100% agree.
Okay,
yeah, controversial, bruh. Like, no, for sure.
The song We Don't Talk About Bruno is a better thing than the whole movie. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no, I
would rather
100%
just listen to the song than rewatch the movie.
I have like literally. And also I'm such a weirdo, but like I specifically love in songs when they like layer parts of the song again at the end, like you know when like
that is a signature Lin-Manuel Miranda thing.
Like
he does that in a lot of his work,
right? And a lot of musicals tend to do that too. Like in Les Mis, they do that a lot. Like they bring back
there's a specific
someone's
term
theme song.
There's a name for that. I forgot what it's called, but I remember back when I was like into Hamilton, I was watching like some behind the scenes or interview or something, and he was talking about it because there is the last number of Act 1 in Hamilton has one of those too. I just don't remember what it's called. Hold on, let me Google it because I'm actually
what's weird too, Taylor Swift does that a lot in her songs. Really? And that's why I'm like, yeah, interesting. She'll bring like, she does it like less on a lesser scale, so she's obviously not writing musical numbers, but she'll bring back lines from like the pre-chorus lines and she'll put them at the end in her new chorus. No one asked for this, but it's true. That's just, I just really like when people do that in songs. So that's just something, but I will find out the name. We'll find it out eventually.
I'm trying to find, there is a name for it because I remember like there's a song, the song Hamilton, not song in Hamilton. There's a song in Hamilton called Non-Stop. That's the one at the end of Act 1, and it has like a really long thing where it's the same thing as in We Don't Talk About Bruno.
Yeah.
Because it's a musical theater term where it's like you have all of the verses or something
end up coming in as the
because like I said, it's kind you can draw a lot of parallels there, because in both of those songs, in We Don't Talk About Bruno and in Nonstop, each like character has like their own verse that has to do with them, and then in the big ending where everyone overlaps each other, everyone calls back to their first verse and is like talking at the same time, and it's meant to like represent like chaos or whatever.
No, they do that in Les Mis in the song One Day More. I know that for sure. Like literally there's Cosette and I forget his name, the main guy who's in love with her. They're both singing how but they're in love, and then literally Eponine's in the back singing her like On My Own part, and it's like everyone's talking about Jean Valjean's like freaking out. It's really good. But anyways, maybe when you find it, you tell me. But we thought that was really good. Really well done. The song is I completely agree. I think
it's an excellent song.
I think the movie can be explained. I'm gonna butcher this like expression that people say, but it's like lesser than the sum of its parts. Like things separately are really good, but when you like put it all together, you're like, I didn't get much. And that's where we're gonna go into what I didn't like. All right.
Yeah.
So, I'm just going to say this. I don't know if maybe we'll agree, we'll disagree. Some people don't agree with this. But me and my brother literally said this coming out of the theater at the same time. We said, not much happened in this movie.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
There was no sense of adventure or action. I don't know. I feel like also the ending, which we'll talk about later, made me feel like there was no stakes actually. Like it was very like, blah. Like, this is just it like the story, I'm sorry, was quite shallow to me, which I think a lot of people who love the movie would completely disagree.
Yeah.
But every time I thought they were setting something up to be deeper than it was, they didn't. And like to me, that's why this movie really felt like a kid's movie rather than like I would say like most Disney movies. Like I think a lot of Disney and Pixar movies are praised for the fact that they're like movies for everybody. Like the whole family can watch it and enjoy a part of it. I didn't really get that from this movie. It felt like very much like, oh, this is going to be cool for, kids to watch over and over again. But like, I probably won't see this again, because like specifically I can think of like times where I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. And then they just like shut it down. So just to go a little bit into the plot, but we'll talk about, and you can jump in obviously when you want. There's like the part where obviously she finds out the magic is going bad, and I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, so maybe she has like the power of sight or something. But then her grandma's like, nah, I actually know the like when she goes sneaks up on her grandma and her grandma's talking about it, she's like, no, the grandma knows that like stuff is going bad. So I'm like, okay, whatever. She has to go just discover it. And then she makes it seem like, okay, I'm going to go on an adventure and like find out how to save the miracle. And then turns out it's like, nah, you're not going to go anywhere. The miracle, like the answer is inside the house. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then she goes to Bruno's house room thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's this whole like action sequence, this whole thing of her like like very Indiana Jones to find like a vision, right? And a vision that basically says that she is the problem, essentially. That's what the vision looks like. So I'm like, so maybe she's gonna go like, because she's in the vision that makes it look like she's the problem, she's going to go do something to prove that she's not the problem. Like, that's what I was thinking, right? But then Bruno pops up. Literally, like, as soon as the thing is revealed, Bruno pops up. So then I'm like, oh, I guess, like, this movie's going to be about her and Bruno needing to, like, like the two outcasts of the family trying to do something together, right? And then Bruno just goes back into the wall, and she has to go hug her sister Isabella. So I'm like, okay. And by the way, all these things I've said are like, there's like journeys that they could have taken, but they keep shutting it down every time with something else. So I'm just me as a viewer, I'm trying to follow the movie. Like, I'm like, okay, like, where am I going to sit comfortably? Like, it feels like we're playing musical chairs and I'm not allowed to sit. Okay. So I'm waiting. And I'm thinking, okay, you know what? This whole hug thing with her sister Isabella, that might actually be really interesting, because I thought that their dynamic was really cool, because I think in a lot of kids movies they don't really show like sibling rivalry like that.
That's what I was gonna say. Right? It's very interesting to me that a Disney movie was showing that like the siblings actually don't get along.
Yes, and I thought that was gonna be
like in a way where it's like rare. Oh, like it's, unless you're talking about like Frozen, but the whole point of that movie is like the sisters like relationship, but this one it's more just like, I don't know, to see like a family where it's like dysfunctional and like,
yeah,
you know, people aren't really like,
people
are mean to each other. Like,
yes, you know? Yeah, literally mean. I thought, I was like, oh, this is good, but I just felt, but this is my problem with that point exactly.
Yeah,
it is so cool that they're showing people who are like dysfunctional, have bad relationships. My problem is they fix them in 2 seconds.
Yep, I agree.
Like, Bruno has been living in isolation in a wall, watching his family eat dinner without him and basically talk trash about him and or not talk about him at all. Like, he doesn't exist. And we're supposed to like brush over that. Like, that's nothing. Like, that's very kiddie to me. Like, it gives me, oh, we just threw like a piano on a guy, but he's gonna survive. Like,
yeah,
what?
No, I agree.
Like,
and like it sucks too, because like you said, like the what's it called? What is the word I'm looking for? The intention, no, not the intention, like the idea is a good idea.
The premise is
the premise or whatever. Yeah, because like it's very common thing, I feel like, also in like those types of families. I don't know, at least I relate, where there's always that one family member that like did something bad, or like you know, that your family's like, no, we don't talk about this family member. Like, you know,
like I have that too,
talks
for
about
sure.
Them, like,
I literally had an uncle I didn't know about till like a few years. So like, for real, I really
like there's still family members that I've never met before, because it's like, no, we don't talk to that person. Like, you know what I mean? Like that type of thing. It's very realistic, but the way that it was executed was kind of like, I get what you mean. Like, it's kind of a little bit childish.
It is very childish.
I get it. Oh, it's a child. It's a kid movie. Still, doesn't mean you have to execute it in a childish way.
Like, I don't agree with that, because literally Zootopia tackled racism and it was great. So like, let's not
way to go about it. Like, I agree with that.
So I felt like that was lame. And then finally, we have the whole Isabella thing. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I think this is gonna be really cool. I'm gonna be like, she's gonna try to get the hug from her sister, but she's gonna realize that like it's deeper than that. Like, it's not just about the hug. It's about like understanding that your sister has problems just like you, because her sister is literally her foil character. Like, Mirabel has essentially nothing. She has no gift, and like people don't really like her like that. Versus Isabella has the opposite. She has the best gift. To like, a lot of people think it's like the prettiest one, and
which
she's
I find
pretty.
Weird. What about her gift is useful?
I know,
but anyways,
it's just because she's gorgeous. Like, if she was just normal looking, I think people would be like, oh yeah, she makes flowers.
Exactly, pretty privileged at its finest.
Yes, literally pretty. So, but like, she is the opposite of her. So she's like, okay, this is her foil character, and it's gonna be so interesting to see how she has to learn to relate to her.
Yeah.
No, instead we have a song which is not that good. No offense. We have one song.
Like
it's terrible. Like I'm so sorry.
I feel bad because I see people being like, "Oh my god, her song's so good." No, it's really not.
No, it's really not. The animation is cute, but the song is.
I don't even remember what it sounds like. Like, I was like, okay, like
I don't like it at all. The song. Instead, we have a song, and presumably we're supposed to believe that in that song, Mirabel just forgets. And so does Isabella, about all the beef they had. Like, it's not even like they had cute beef. It was like, literally, like, she's like, you ruined my life. Like, don't talk to me.
No,
like,
it was like bad beef. Like, it was like,
yes,
it's not cute. Like, it's
like, and like her sister hated Mirabel, presumably for just being like not special. Like, that's what I was getting. She's always the vibe.
Like, you're in my way. Like, get out of my way.
Yes.
Like,
so I'm like, so we're supposed to believe that one song is enough. And you know what's even worse? So they do the one song, and they hug in the middle of the song, and the candle actually lights up. That's what actually pissed me off. Because I was like, you're telling me that that's it. Like, that's what they needed to do. Because, like, you're almost insulting the candle's, like, magic.
Yeah.
Like, is that it?
No, exactly. Like, that's all she had to do? Like, I don't get it.
Literally.
Yeah, no, I
like,
agree.
Hug her sister. Like, I didn't see... It wasn't earned. I think that's the thing. It wasn't earned.
Yeah.
It was just, like, very much, like, that is so kiddie. Like, oh, you need to hug your sister to make the magic feel good again.
Yeah, and also,
like,
why should she have to hug her sister if her sister is the one who's literally like traumatizing her and bullying
right?
her?
For real,
because
like,
she's not as good as her, and then it's like, but you just need to hug her because she's still your sister. What a terrible message! Like,
literally, Monica, that is so spot on. I was like, you even bring up the fact that the sister is the one in the wrong. Like,
yeah, like her family was bullying her, and it's just like, no, you just have to forgive them.
Legit, like, you know, when they took the picture without her, my mom literally went.
Oh my god,
my mom literally went. That she went because my mom's a teacher, by the way, a French teacher, and she said, "Ça c'est de l'intimidation."
Exactly. It really is.
She said it's bullying in French.
Her family was literally bullying her.
Yeah, she was like, "This is exclusion. Like, how are they?" She was like, had to point it out because, like, obviously, I guess my sister's watching, so she wants her to like know that that's like terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, my mom was just shook, you know, because it's terrible.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's so bad.
Message is like, I know. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I was being a little quiet for a minute there, but I finally found the term I was looking for.
Oh, it's okay.
It's called a canon.
Canon. Oh my gosh, I should have known that. I should have known that.
When all of the verses will overlap with each other. I was like, it was bothering me. I'm like, I know there's a term for it that I remember Lin-Manuel Miranda talking about. Yeah, it's called a canon.
Yes,
and he does that in a lot of his work.
Do canon.
Yeah, it's
in
like,
any song, any movie, anything.
Yeah, he does it. He has it in like In the Heights, in Hamilton, in well, we can talk about Bruno, and there's another one too. I forgot, but yeah, he does it a lot, and it's very fun to watch. But anyways. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I wanted to say kind of off of that point. Again, sorry, I was being a little quiet because I was like, I need to find this.
It's okay.
But yeah, for me, my major problem too, kind of like what you were saying with the plot, how nothing really much was going on. And the reason I feel like nothing much was going on is because besides, we don't talk about Bruno because like I said, that song I feel like is completely separate from the movie. Like, I don't know why. I feel like they did that song. They're like, okay, let's build a movie around it. Like, that's kind of what it felt
literally
like.
Feels like,
because this applies to all of the songs in the movie except for that one. But every musical number in this movie felt like the plot was being paused to sing the song, if that makes sense. Like, usually in a musical or in like a movie with songs in it or stuff like that, typically the unless it's like a villain song or something like that, usually a song at least tries to move the plot forward a little bit. But I felt like these musical numbers were just like, they just stopped whatever they were doing, did the musical number, and then continued, which was like kind of annoying because I felt like, I felt especially
stagnant.
just like, and I felt that especially in like the song Service Pressure when she was singing, and like, when it happened again in Isabella's song, I was like, why? Like, it kind of felt like each song was like its own little like music video where nothing important was like happening during the song. Like, the person was just singing and then they were putting all this like animation around it. And I feel like if they had done it for one song, maybe just for Luisa's song, I've been like, okay, fine, because they have to show like that she's crumbling under the pressure or whatever. But then they did it again and I was like, okay, like, what's the point?
Because like, and it's like, Luisa, that's fine because honestly she's not like a main character really. Like, she's kind of a side, and her problem is very clear. Like, you can see it. It's like, oh, I understand. So if they want to do one song, that's fine. Isabella, and like you said, they literally have like full on beef, almost to the point where you call it bullying, and we're gonna like just have her sing about how she doesn't need to be perfect, and then we're gonna like say that's fine, and then we're just gonna like dismiss that right away after, because by the way, Isabella disappears from the movie after the song. Like, it's not like Isabella defends her in front of Abuela or something, or goes like, you know what, no, like, I learned like my lesson. Like, I don't see the change that we're talking about that the candle should care about.
But I feel like just in general, like, it's the songs aren't bad, but I feel like during the song you have to show them doing something. Like, maybe if during Isabella's song they were showing things happening, like, you know, them getting along a little bit better, you know what I mean, like moving the plot
like
forward.
A montage or something.
A montage or whatever. But the fact that the song was just her having her own little music video moment in her room, again, I was kind of like, okay, like, I feel like you're just putting these songs in just to put them in when you could have done it. You could have changed this for dialogue instead and actually would have gone somewhere. Like, I didn't like
it. Definitely
that most
feels
of the
like
and the
that.
same thing kind of with the Family Madrigal. Like, I guess you're trying to like introduce your family, but it was really like, it was a long song.
It was too long.
And she's just walking around town. Like, nothing's really happening. And she's just telling all the kids in her village about her family. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like the songs were not contributing to the plot in the slightest.
Exactly. And I also agree,
except for we don't talk about Bruno.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah,
but
except for we don't talk about
because we don't talk about Bruno, stuff is actually going on during the song.
Yes,
she's going to each
like
of her family members
Bruno.
to ask about Bruno, and then they're not, and then they show them setting up for dinner and then doing all that stuff. Like, things are happening. You know what I mean? That's the only song that actually feels like it's supposed to be in there. The other songs kind of feel like they're like, okay, we need to explain this plot point. What should we do? Okay, let's just make it a song. And then, like, what's going to happen in the background? Oh, no, nothing. We have other stuff we want to do in the plot. So let's just add all this animation and add all this stuff in here so that you forget that you're just listening to someone do a monologue in song form. That's kind of basically what it sounded like.
That's literally it. And you know what makes it even worse?
Yeah.
I think it's like they do the music video thing, and that also makes you not... Like, I like that this movie is set in Colombia, but we didn't see much of Colombia.
Exactly, because they just tried to add all this, like, fantastical animation. And you know what it reminded me of a lot?
What?
In Moana, the song You're Welcome basically does the exact same thing, but it's not as bad in Moana because that's the only song that does that. Maybe the Shiny song, too, like the one that the villain sings to. Bit, maybe it's, like, a Lin-Manuel Miranda thing, but, like, it's, like, it's those songs where... And I feel like it was kind of, like... ripped off a little. Like, it felt like it was basically just like copy paste, just change a few words with like that, with the whole like sequence of things. Like, you know, in You're Welcome, like she meets Maui and then he talks about himself, and then it's kind of like a music video where like you see all the animation where he's explaining his life story, whatever, and then it comes back to where like nothing happened there. They're all on the island, nothing changed. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard to explain, but
it is. And even in You're Welcome, at least he like is tricking her.
Yeah, like at least you find out that he was doing that to stall her, which makes sense. It's like self-aware, where it's like, okay, I know nothing happened just now. I was doing this as a distraction. But in this movie, there was no purpose. Like, it was literally this person just telling their story. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, it just feels boring. Like, it feels like, okay, what was the point of all that?
And it's also like, okay, I'm not above, for example, there are songs where nothing happens because they're like singing about learning a new lesson. Like, I think of like Entangled, I See the Light. Like, technically nothing happens, but they're both like realizing that like they're in love with each other, right?
Oh yeah, but then that does move the plot forward,
consequences, that does move the plot.
Like each other.
For
sure. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the songs in Encanto don't move the plot forward at all. It's just kind of like regurgitating their feeling.
And I also think like even if it was that, the aftermath doesn't even pay off. So like Luisa sings about how she feels pressure and she should probably chill out. And then literally as soon as the song ends, somebody asks her to do something and she goes and does it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, nothing happens. Like, you know what I mean?
Like nothing changed either.
Even if you want to compare it to I See the Light, like in the background, like you have to think about the visuals too. While I See the Light is playing, things are going on. Like, you know what I mean? Where it feels like the song is entwined into the story, where the story is still moving forward. But this one, it really felt like it was like, okay, story. Oh, song. Okay, we got to stop. Let them sing the song. Let them do the thing. Okay, now we can continue. You know what I mean? Where if you wanted to have the song about Luisa feeling pressure and stuff like that, show her in her everyday life doing things. Because I feel like they showed that first and then she did the song. Like, you know what I mean? Instead, she should have started singing the song when we had not seen her doing anything for anyone. And then through the song, that's when we learn that she does everything for everyone. And we see her going about the village, helping everyone, doing everything. And then you can add a little bit of the animation, the cool, like, little things where she's picking up like, huge things or whatever throughout the song, but not... They really could have done it like Belle, like the intro to Belle in Beauty and the Beast, like going around the town, people asking her to do things, and then she's singing like at the same time. Exactly.
Obviously, there could have been more interesting in it because Belle is literally just walking around, but you could have had some type of vibe.
But you
like
gotta have a balance. Either the song has to
be
moving the plot forward, or the visuals have to be moving the plot forward. So in Belle, for example, the visuals aren't moving the plot forward because she's just walking around town, but the song is introducing us to who Belle is and like telling a story. Or you can do the opposite, where I See the Light, for example, where the song isn't moving the plot forward, but the things that are happening on screen are moving the plot forward. Like, you have to have either or else like it feels like I said, like just a music video. It feels like the plot just stopped.
Completely agree.
And there's a musical number, and that's like one of the main problems I had with the movie, where that's why at the end you feel like there wasn't really much plot because they had to keep stopping it for music videos for the characters.
Yeah, it literally. And you know what I think? It felt like a one-man show play type thing. Like a musical that you would sit down and watch in a theater. But even in a musical, they would have done more to entertain you because they know they can't just have somebody standing there singing. So they would have done a lot more like showing, like you're saying, than just telling. Like, it was just... it was I think that's like a really accurate way of like explaining what's troubling with the movie.
Yeah,
and I think
that was my main
the songs. I think the songs, like you're saying, like nothing happens, and I think that goes with my point of also like where every time they shut down a plot point, I think it's the song shutting it down. Like the song comes in and it shuts down the plot point you thought you were gonna have, and then you just move on to the next thing, which is like not cool.
And it just sucks too, because like I said, like I liked the song Surface Pressure. I just wish it had more significance to the plot. Like it doesn't do anything except just be like, oh, because we barely even see Louisa for the rest of the movie. She's just like in the background crying for half the movie, and then that's it. Like, you know what I mean? So,
like so why did she even get a song? Like, you could have had her have a song with all the family members talking about feeling pressure under Abuela.
Or just something out, or just at least like make it feel like it fits into the story a little bit better. Like that's the thing that kind of sucks to me. It feels like it was kind of just thrown in there, and they were like, oh, we have a really good song for Louisa, we want to include it in the movie, and they're like, okay, just put it in here. You know what I mean? Like, it just that was like my main issue. And like I fully agree where I said like I felt like nothing really like happened. Like there wasn't a really like, we spend literally half the movie up until we find out that Bruno's in the wall, half the movie just like seeing like the like learning each of the family members. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like like until that, like I feel like the, what is it called, enticing incident was way too late. Inciting incident was way too late. Like usually I feel like that should happen like maybe a third of the way through the movie, but it didn't really happen until like halfway through the movie. Like, and it's not even like to get there.
It's not an action-packed movie where you can stall in an inciting incident too. Like there's a lot of movies like, where things are happening, so it's like it's okay if it didn't happen yet, but this is you're right, like it's very much exposition the whole time until the inciting incident is happening. Like they literally should have just started with Homeboy's ceremony. Like I think, in my opinion, like it's the day of his ceremony, like full on, everybody's like scrambling around, and you can see people using their powers to like get stuff ready. Like that's enough to like show.
So imagine this: she's singing the Welcome to the Family Madrigal song while everyone's getting ready for the ceremony, and showing people using their powers to get ready for the ceremony, to then explain what the powers are, instead of doing a whole like 5-minute long number where she's explaining everyone's powers, and then everyone starts getting ready for the party and using their powers and stuff like that. Like I feel like it was just like, it was not very well thought out, I think.
Like it's like a first draft, and there's or maybe second draft, I won't say first draft for sure, but it's like a second draft that needed like another revision. Like people could have trimmed things. Like it just felt like we were watching the first cut rather than like the cleaned up part.
Like I feel like I expected more from, like it had a lot of potential. Like that's the thing that's annoying.
A lot of
it's like a movie that has a lot of potential, but just wasn't executed well, in my opinion.
The premise is probably one of my favorites. Like
it's a very unique premise. I
love that idea. Like, and the whole idea that you're not the special one. And I actually like, for example,
it's like the opposite of the chosen one.
Yes, I love that, and I kind of want to. We'll move on to the ending too. How the ending. I actually like, for example, that she didn't get powers, because I do think that would have been.
I think it would have totally contradicting. At the end, they're like, "Here's your power," or like someone was saying, "Oh, her power is the fact that she brings her family together," or whatever. Like, and I get what they mean by that, but also like I think it's good at the end that she literally doesn't have no power. Like that's the whole point. She has no power, and it's okay, like,
and that's fine.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Exactly. So I do like that. I do think that's a good lesson for kids too, by the way.
That's what I'm saying. I think the movie had like good bones, but the way it was fleshed out was not very well done.
Not good. Yeah. And I have to talk about Abuela, because we haven't addressed her already. Okay. So first of all, I thought her arc was just didn't make sense, because I was like emotionally, let's say, it's fine. She can come around. I knew she would come around eventually. That's literally what's supposed to happen. But she came around within the span of 2 minutes, y'all. She literally was yelling at Mirabel. The house gets destroyed, and then she all of a sudden comes back. And this is what actually, like, this is what part doesn't make sense. The movie literally opens up with her explaining to Mirabel how she got the candle with her husband dying, the colonial. We literally see that. Yeah. And then they proceed at this point, we're like third act, to re-show us the same footage, but then add more of like, oh, she loved her husband. Hey, a woman losing her husband is pretty bad. Like, you don't need to show me more for me to be like, oh, now I really I already felt bad when you showed me.
Unless they had like revealed some new information that actually was important, there was no point in doing that whole thing.
There was literally nothing that they showed in the montage that made me go like, oh, like now I understand.
Yeah,
which is like
literally nothing. I was like, okay.
And it's like, and it's not even like, oh, we knew information at the beginning that Mirabel didn't know, and then now this is when Mirabel learns about it. No, the montage at the beginning was literally grandma talking to her granddaughter about this history and literally telling her everything.
Yeah.
So why is her repeating it later gonna all of a sudden make Mirabel be like, you know what, you're right, all those years of tormenting and exclusion, that's fine, because you told me the same story that you told me when I was 4.
That's like, what? Saying. Like, I don't know. Like, this movie was just like, when you really think about it, like, it's like, what? Like, what were you thinking? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like the colorfulness of it and the grandeur of it kind of overshadows the plot that is not really good.
That's why I'm saying, if we started right, like, I wish I could cut this movie up and make it, because I think it could be amazing. That's if what I'm saying. Just like fixed it.
Like, all you have to do is just switch some things around, like,
yes,
and it would be a lot better.
Like, start with the ceremony. Honestly, you know, it'd be really cool. That's a little bit maybe too advanced. Maybe they can't do that for kids.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool if we didn't know she didn't have powers until his works out. Like, everybody goes like, hopefully it goes better than last year, and like, we don't know that it's technically hers was last year. Yeah. So then when he gets it, they go like, oh, thank God, because, you know, Mirabel got nothing. And then, you know, that could
then you're like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I see what you mean. How, because they kind of tried to do that in the opening number, where like they keep asking her, oh, what's your power? What's your power? What's your power? And then she doesn't say anything. And then like someone comes in and is like, oh, didn't you hear? Like, she didn't get any power. And then they're like, ooh. Like, that could have been a lot more interestingly. Like, I see what you mean. Yeah, where you don't actually find out that she didn't get a power, like where she's kind of so busy introducing the family and everyone's getting ready and everyone's like chaotic, and then she doesn't even mention the fact that she didn't get a power, and then at the end we find out why everyone is so adverse to her, and then it's like, oh yeah, actually, by the way, she didn't get a power, and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. No,
that would be so good, because like that would eliminate all the fluff at the beginning.
Yeah.
You would get into like her trying to help the family way quicker. Like, inciting incident would happen. Like, it literally happens that night. So that would have been that.
Yeah.
And then you would have cut out the whole grandma explaining the candle part, so that when she does it in the end, it's like more impactful. Like, you go like, 100%. Oh, like, I get why she's... I still don't think that's enough, by the way, though, because your son was living in the walls. Like, I will never forget. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. And I feel like they didn't apologize to Bruno enough for my liking.
No, the sisters were like, "Oh, we missed you." No, you didn't.
You were singing. Like, yeah, no. That whole
song about how we don't talk about him and how he sucks because he tells people the truth. What?
Yeah, like, I think they really should have emphasized more of the Bruno thing, because he kind of just like showed back up, and they were like, oh, okay, yeah, you're fine now, and he's like, okay, cool, like, you know what I mean? Like, nothing, like, they added they tried to add a lot of depth for the whole like grandma thing, but kind of left Bruno in the dust, even though
they really
your best song is about Bruno.
He's about him.
So you're gonna give him a very weak conclusion? It doesn't make any sense to me.
The only time I ever came close to, like, I didn't cry at all in this movie, but if I ever came close, it would be the little plate this man drew for himself on the other side, and he can see the family on the other side. Yeah. That was pathetic, bruh. That was pathetic.
It's like, I can't, like, I don't know, man. Like, just think, like, it was one of those movies where I was like fine watching it. I was like, okay, like, I wasn't like, you know, loving it, but then like when I really sat, I was like, what is happening?
What did I watch?
And that's what I mean. That's what I felt like. I genuinely think that like the song "We Don't Talk About Bruno" is like way better than the actual movie that it's from.
The song itself could be a film, like a short story or something.
Yeah,
like
it really could, because that's what a song and a musical is supposed to be, where it actually tells a story, and actually, like, compared to the other songs, that's why it really emphasizes the fact that the other songs don't move the plot forward at all and don't add anything to the plot at all.
And it's also the catchiest. Like, they put all their juices.
They put
in that
everything.
One song.
They put their whole budget into that one song. I feel like it's. I don't know how to explain it to you. Like, you should really go listen to it if you're gonna do anything. You should listen to this song, because it's actually really good.
Yeah. And the dancing was so good. I loved it. Yeah, like when they were doing the, I don't know what it's called. I'm sorry. The traditional Colombian dancing.
Yeah, me neither. But yeah, I'm telling you, like, that's what I'm saying. Where I don't know why, it just seems like they put most of the budget into that song, like the choreography. Like the other songs didn't have any choreography that I know of.
True.
But that one, like, it was literally had choreography, like, that I saw. It was videos,
so good.
Behind the scenes where they literally like mapped out the whole song with like actual people like as choreography for the whole song, even when they're obviously not dancing.
Yeah, for sure.
It just, I don't know what it is. It, like, that's what I'm saying. That makes it worse because you're watching the movie and you're like, there's this really good song in the middle of the movie, and then the rest of the movie is like, meh. Like,
literally, yeah. Because it was so good because they like even blended everything that you said, like the whole, either you tell a story, you tell feelings. They did all three. They did, the parents are talking, I mean the auntie's talking to Mirabel, but then at the same time they flash back to their old day, but they're like dancing as like if it's like the old day, but they're also telling the story.
They're telling a backstory, but on screen the story is moving forward because they're setting up for the dinner. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, like they did everything. They did backstory,
telling a backstory while things are moving forward. Like, it's possible. You can do it, and it just no. That's like, it just sucks because it's like, it's such a good song.
I know. I literally, like I said, I love the premise. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And I'm just disappointed that it didn't like get done. Like, I don't know. Like, who were the screenwriters for like Tangled and like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like really good plots. Wreck-It Ralph had a pretty good plot. I actually did like that one, but
it just sucks. Like, I feel like it wasn't on purpose. Like you said, like I feel like they had a good idea. I think it just didn't. It didn't. Like, yeah,
like I think they concentrated too much on it. Gives me very much like maybe what happened. This is what I predict. That's what happened with Frozen 2. In Frozen 2, I watched like this. I didn't watch all of it, but there was like the documentary about like how they made it.
Yeah,
they spent like millions of dollars on that scene where Elsa is doing that crazy stuff on the water, like the really, really cool visual scene, and she gets that horse. Okay,
yeah.
They spent millions of dollars on that scene, animating it before they had finished the story. Like they didn't know what the voice was when they had animated that. When they wanted to change the plot, and that scene became kind of obsolete, which I noticed from the beginning because I was like, why is there water horse? But whatever. They couldn't like justify throwing millions of dollars away because they changed the plot. Yeah, which I feel like is the same like idea with this, where you start.
I see what you mean, because like they have this big number about Bruno, but then at the end of the story, it's more about Alma than Bruno at the end. So it was like, what was the point of having this? Like,
it was no point, but it's like, yo, we already animated this. We already we already
hired the choreographers. They've already done. Right? They've already mapped out the whole scene. It's too late now.
And like literally, that's like what writing is. Writing is writing stuff and then literally scrapping it. Like, but you can't with animation, and it's just harder with animation over any other type of movie, because live action, make sure you can have them
first before you even start animating anything.
Yeah, because like in live action, you can have them film the scene 10,000 different ways. Like, you could be like, do this ending, do that ending. Like, Marvel is known for that. They be filming 10,000 different endings, and
because they have to
the
make
one
sure
they
that
like.
It fits with the bigger story and
exactly.
all that stuff, so.
And it works well for them most of the time. Yeah. So like that goes. Versus like even in books, people scrap things all the time, and it costs them nothing because they're literally erasing words.
Yeah.
But with animation,
like, you gotta make sure. I think you really, for that, you gotta make sure you have a really solid story before you even start put a pencil 100%.
And I think it shows with the movies that have like really good plots, why they do well is because they're not on a deadline. Like Tangled was like thought of like years before it was made. Like, it wasn't even greenlit. Like, people were talking about it, and I think that actually speaks to why the plot was good. Yeah. Same thing with Frozen, had plot holes, but it was still, to some extent, it was thought of a long time ago.
Those are the type of movies where you watch them and you can tell that the plot was really well thought out before the movie. Yes. Like, this is the type of movie like Encanto where I feel like the animation was being thought of over the plot. Before the I feel like they were already being like, oh my god, we're gonna have a song about Luisa and she's gonna talk about her pressures, and we're gonna show all this like these big boulders falling on her, before even figuring out how it was gonna even fit into the plot.
Because if you really look at it, you're like, why am I wasting time? No, even though it's beautiful, if you're talking about it, very pretty, why am I wasting time watching her get boulders when you have a beautiful country you're in, like, or city, where I want to see the people in the city, which, by the way, that ended up being a kind of important thing at the end, where the people of the city came together to help them. Like, that would be nice to see, Because honestly, all I saw was Luisa helping people out in the city. Like, and they were like, we owe her something. But like, they were like, oh, we need to help the Madrigas because they helped us. Like, we could have even seen like maybe 2 seconds of a country bumpkin, sorry, saying something about like, oh, the Madrigas like have kept my family safe for generations with this oasis, you know, because they did help them get away from the colonizers. So
that's what I'm saying. Like,
nice.
I don't know. I feel like it just, it wasn't, they didn't really think it through properly.
No.
The plot.
It just,
it's unfortunate, but what can you do?
Yes.
I mean, I know the movie has really good like critical and
reviews
and stuff like that.
People are not gonna agree with us.
Yeah,
at all.
so the way we might be saying controversial shit right now, but I only tell the truth, and the truth is this movie as a plot I found very forgettable.
Yes.
Like, as much as I wish I could be like, oh, but the family aspects relate, I feel like that was just overshadowed by the fact that the movie as a whole was just very messy plot wise.
Right? And like, people want to say like, oh, it's cool that they're addressing like a messy family and that, but I was like, I feel like they really didn't. That's the thing.
As someone who has that experience, I feel like I didn't feel connected to it at all. So
no, not at all. And some people are like, oh, that's how families are. Like, you easily forget. What? I don't.
But even if it was like, there was a better way to do that. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Sure.
Like, there's a better way to execute that, and it wasn't. I don't
like
think it was done
like
well.
I'm not. We're not asking for like a big speech because that would not.
I also
realistic.
don't need that. Like I said, we don't need them to change the plot points. Like, the plot points were there. Like, the skeleton of the movie was there. It just, the way things were sequenced and the shifting focuses was not it.
Yes, like, it's like, do you want this movie to be about getting Bruno back in the family because they excluded him, or do you want this to be about how Mirabel needs to learn to like
is this about Mirabel's relationship with her siblings, or is it with her
siblings,
or is it
or with her grandma,
with the whole, or is it the fact that the magic is being lost? Like, there was too much, and they couldn't figure out what the main focus of the movie is. That's what I'm trying to say.
It was just like, or like,
I
just can't even, like,
basically what it is.
And I felt crazy, bruh, the whole time, because I watched it way earlier than most people, and the reviews were coming out from critics, and I was like, I don't see anybody who's seeing what I saw. I felt
like, afterwards insane. I finished it and I was like, okay. Like, I wasn't like, oh my god, that was so emotional, so moving. I was like,
I literally was like,
it just
whatever.
ended, and I was like, okay, like.
And then I was like, Rotten Tomatoes, the score.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is?
It's like a 90 something.
91.
No
That's
way.
higher than most animated movies.
Yeah, no shot. I think people are going a little cuckoo in quarantine, and are not thinking straight. No offense.
They miss animation. That's what it is.
That's what it is. I think people just, I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know what it is.
Because, baby, 91.
I would have been fine if it was like an 80. I would have been like, okay, whatever.
Yes.
Cool. I'm not mad at that. But a 91.
91.
I'm sorry, babes, but
no.
Nope.
We want better.
I think we deserve better. I think we deserve a little bit better than that. Yeah. I think, like, for representation wise, it's great. You know,
yes,
but
this is a great kids movie. Like I said, I actually think
a kid who,
good.
You know, those like intricate, detailed plot points are not really gonna matter. They just want to watch something fun and about family with very like family. Conflict resolved, whatever. Totally fine.
My sister's 9. She loved that movie, and that's great. That's what the way it should be.
If you want me to like it, you're gonna have to do a bit better than that.
And like, if you want me to be convinced that it deserves a 91, that it deserves like Oscars, like, you need to convince me better, baby.
Yeah, no. The only Oscar it deserves is Best Original Song for We Don't Talk About Bruno, but they didn't even submit that song for Best Original Song. So which one is it? They submitted Dos Oruguitas or whatever it's called.
Oh, that one. Okay, apparently if you speak Spanish, that song is very touching. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up, but.
Yeah,
they didn't even submit We Don't Talk About Bruno, so it doesn't even matter for me. I'm like,
did they submit? Please don't tell me they submitted her solo song.
You can only submit one or two songs per movie, I think, and they only submitted Dos Oruguitas, so.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I think that was a misstep even in that point.
Yeah,
like We Don't Talk About Bruno is like the most popular song from the movie, and it's very not arguably, very obviously the best song in the movie.
It is 100%.
So it's not even gonna get praised for the thing that it deserves to get praised for. So there's nothing I can do at that point.
No, but honestly, they're still gonna win it because, like, who are they up against for songs?
Actually, I feel like there's some solid competition. I could be wrong though, but
Really?
We'll get back to that in a later episode.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Oh yeah, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah. Let me shut up.
But anyways, and what? I know we just spent like an hour ripping into this movie, but what grade would you give this movie if you had to grade it?
I know the people who like it have already clicked off.
You're harsher on your grades than I am, though. So
I usually am, but I don't think I'll be this bad with this one. But I'm still probably gonna be meaner than you. I don't know.
I think you probably will be.
I'm gonna give this movie a B.
Oh, okay. I was gonna give it a B too. So
okay.
I was thinking you were gonna go into like a C territory. But.
No, I could see where I would, but like I do think that it's lesser than the sum of its parts, but I don't think enough to make it like C is a bad movie to me. Yeah. So no, I can't say that. So anything that's good is getting B minus.
This is a very B movie.
Yes.
Like it's just
literally B.
It's mid.
Like I know this is has nothing to do with this. I know I gave Eternals a B minus, but I like Eternals better, but the grade is lower. Do you see? Like it's not the same for me. Like I see what you mean. Very much like it's critical.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Because there's different aspects of it, like that we like it. Yes. You know what I mean? Like no, I agree.
For sure. Versus this one, there's not much that there's actually, I'm not gonna lie, there's like very little that I love in this movie, like if anything, but I'm very like okay with most things. Like it was just like, oh, it's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Exactly. All
I love is we've talked, we don't talk about Bruno. Yeah, it's literally so
yeah, I would also give it a B. Moral of the story, just listen to the We Don't Talk About Bruno. Actually, you could watch the video, like watch the sequence, because it's a cool sequence.
The music video,
because like I said, this is the only song in the movie where things are actually happening and not just a little and like, but they still make
all
it
the family members are involved.
Still choreography, they're still dancing, but and all the family members are in it, and I feel like that's all you really need to know from this movie is just watch that little video.
Yeah, basically the movie had a lot of potential, but it like ultimately dropped the ball. That's the way I would say it. Like it was just
it's unfortunate, but oh well. There's always next time.
Yes. I mean,
yeah. Well, yeah.
But we know Disney is gonna keep.
I'll tell you, they should keep making stories about different people from all walks of life, people from different countries. I will never harp on them for doing that. So keep doing that. Keep finding diverse stories to tell, but maybe put a little more effort into making a little bit of a better plot.
For sure, because I'm not gonna go too much on a tangent, but I want the amazing movies to be for people of color. I'm not gonna lie, selfishly, because I'm
exactly.
A lot of the amazing ones are not.
Yeah.
Like the ones that people keep talking about. Frozen is still 2 white ladies.
Yeah.
Tangled, 2 white people. And I love those movies. And I love Princess and the Frog, but like I know critically it was not like acclaimed, and like most whatever reception was not. So a lot of the movies that are like that girl are not.
That's what I'm saying. Like
that
I feel
POC
like we need some really like solid movies starring POC that are actually like really good and like can be talked about for a long period.
Like I want like a classic, you know,
like a modern classic type of thing.
A modern classic that I want the To All the Boys effect on these movies. Agreed. You know, like
agreed.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
So, and I think also, I know we don't have time, but we should talk about eventually like how we feel about Disney's direction on like really moving away from the princess formula.
I wanted to talk about that today, but I don't really have time.
I know.
In a future episode, we'll have to talk about that, because it was something it was in my head. I totally forgot to mention
because they did that with Raya too. I think we could do a whole episode on that.
I think that's definitely a thing, or maybe another platform, like nudge nudge, that we could talk about it on. But that's definitely for future conversation, because it is quite interesting that they're not doing the traditional princess anymore. There's a lot of reasons for that, and I can see why. But
and what we like about it, what they're doing, because I think there's like you know, people always go like swing the pendulum very far, so we could talk about that too on like if it's working or not. But
future episode.
All right.
But those are our thoughts on Encanto.
Encanto.
Let us know what you think if you watched the movie. Did you like it?
Yes.
And as usual, subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you're listening to it on, and follow our Instagram at FlickChicksPod. Make sure you're following our Instagram, because any new announcements that we're going to be making will be on there. So you might want to stay tuned for that.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
And yeah, hopefully you get excited for all of the fun things that are going to be coming in 2022. We got lots of fun things planned.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like,
me too.
Like, it gets me pumped to do all this content. I think it's gonna be really dope.
It's gonna be fun. So yeah, make sure you're following us on all platforms, at FlakeTricksPod on Instagram, and yeah, we'll catch you guys next time for another episode.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.